Hello friends, I'm Dr. N.K. Pawar. So today we are going to see the next second chapter of SYBSc electronic subject. The chapter is study of transistors. So that we are going to see. So friends, we are well aware that the word transistor, the meaning of word transistor is transferable resistor. It is the device whose resistance can be changed or controlled. It can be made zero or it can be made infinite. That variation is possible. So the resistance of the device can be controlled. So that is why it is called as a transistor. So here, as you see in figure, this is a symbol of the element transistor, which consists of three terminals, that is emitter, base and collector. And note that this transistor is of NPN type. So we should understand what is NPN type, what is PNP and what is transistor. We already know the PN junction diode. So here, in case of PN junction diode, as shown here, it consists of anode and cathode. There are two electrodes, so that is why it is called as a diode. So one is anode, that is a positive, and another one is cathode, that is negative, and they are cemented together such that they form a junction, and so that is why it is called as a PN junction diode. So here, as you see, diode has two terminals, but transistor, which is also a semiconducting device, but it has three terminals. So here in this case we see one junction. So in case of transistor, there are two junctions and they have three terminals known as emitter, base and collector. Transistor is actually designed by using the help of diodes. So this is one diode. So here it is P and this line indicates it is cathode. So here it is PN and second diode is taken which has this N and this P. So two PN junction diodes whose N is common, negative terminal, that is cathode, is common. So there it is one junction between this P and central N, and this junction J2 is between cathode and another anode. So there are two junctions and we get this is one terminal, second terminal and third terminal. So they are treated as a emitter, base and collector. So this is basic idea of understanding the transistor. But now, before understanding the transistor, we'll have a brief review about what is semiconducting material and PN junction diode, how it works. Once we understood its functioning, then it is very easy and simple to understand the functioning of the transistor. See friends, there are various types of materials available in the universe as far as electrical conductivity is concerned. So they are divided into groups of conductors. Here it is we see, that is conductors, and basically metals are good conductors. So first type of material is conductor, second is an insulator, and third one is semiconductor. We are going to see a brief understanding about what these things are. So see, in case of metals, we know that every element has an atom, but in case of metal, generally, the electron in its atom, see here it is, we know that at center of the atom there is a nucleus which consists of protons and neutrons, and around that nucleus we know there are different shells, orbits or shells. So here, depending on how many number of electrons are there in that atom, the electrons are divided into different shells. So generally in case of metal, those who are metal, there is only single one electron in the outermost shell, and so we know that outermost electron has a very high energy as compared to the innermost electrons, and if small amount of energy is given to these electrons, they become free. So here in case of metals, these electrons require very small energy to become a free electron, and so they are acting as a good electrical conductors. So in case of metals, the conductivity is very high. There is only one valence electron in the outermost orbit. Conduction, that is large number of electrons are available, free electrons for conduction. Resistivity is very small, that is conductivity is very high. So there it is a forbidden energy gap, that is energy gap between valence band and conduction band. So here if you see that valence band, this is valence band and this is conduction band. If you see in the figure, valence band and conduction bands are overlapped, so there is no band gap or there is no energy gap between valence band and conduction band. It simply means that these type of electrons in metals are free and they take part in conduction of electrical current in the material. Second type of material is that is insulator. So we know that different characteristics of metals depends on how many number of electrons or atomic number of the material. So here what is happening in case of materials, there are certain metals in which there are 8 electrons in outer shell, and we know that if there are 8 electrons in outer shell, that atom is very stable and that atom does not give an electron outside easily, or it does not accept the electron from outside. So the materials in which outer shell has 8 electrons and they are stable, these are fall in category of insulators. So its conductivity is very low because of no free electrons are available. There are 8 valence electrons in outermost orbit. Conduction, it is neutral number of electrons for conduction, that means almost no electrons are available for conduction. Resistivity is very large, it is greater than 10 raised to 5 ohm meter. So forbidden gap, so there it is a large forbidden gap, you should understand. So in case of insulator, these are the electrons in a valence band, so their energy level is in this band, and if they want to get free, they need to jump from valence band to conduction band, but it requires about this much energy, that is forbidden gap is of 10 electron volt, and it is almost impossible for these electrons to jump from valence band to conduction band. So if such kind of metal is used for electrical conductivity, as there are no free electrons in this material, there is no flow of current, resistance is very large. So now let us consider the main type of material which is of which is very important for understanding the transistor. So this is semiconductor. So it is called as a semiconductor because of it is partially, it can act as a conductor as well as it can act as a insulator. So here it is, the conductivity of semiconducting material is moderate, that is valence electrons, there are only 4 electrons in the outermost orbit. So see here it is, if we consider this is the metal, semiconducting material, so here we see in outermost shell there are 4 electrons and 4 vacancies are there. So in this case there are chances, if these electrons get sufficient energy they can become free, or if other electrons are there nearby they can be accommodated in this atom, they can form the bonds. So this way it can work as a conductor also. So it is conduction, very less number of electrons for conduction. So in this case we see that for conductivity the free electrons are very few. So here it is its resistivity. It is, remember that its resistivity is greater than good conductor. Okay, so that means what I want to say is that it does not have infinite resistance as insulator, and it has no very low resistance as it is in case of conductor. So here its temperature coefficient is negative and forbidden energy gap is very small. That means if some energy is given to these electrons, it may jump from valence band to conduction band, and that energy gap is of 1.1 volt. And silicon and germanium are the materials which acts as a semiconductor. So here we see that is semiconducting material, silicon and germanium. So materials that have the characters to behave like conductors as well as insulators under different conditions are known as semiconductors. And here you see this is valence band and this is conduction band, but the gap, energy gap between them is very small, 1.1 electron volt, and this much amount of energy if it is given to these electrons they can jump to conduction band and become free and can take part in electrical conductivity. So let us talk about semiconductors, germanium, silicon. We are going to consider the case silicon. Now here we see that at absolute zero temperature these semiconducting materials are acting, or they act as insulator. So here we see when absolute temperature is absolute zero, no electrons can jump from valence band to conduction band. Now how we are using semiconductor device as a diode, PN junction diode, and consequently in transistor that we are going to see in this. See here you see that this is silicon atom. In its outermost shell there are 4 electrons, but we know that every atom tries to become a stable atom, and so for this it requires 8 electrons in its outermost shell. So when you take a block of silicon material, so you see that there are large number of atoms in the material. So when these atoms come together, you see that as this is the atom in which there are only 4 electrons and it is unstable, so here you see that this atom which has only 4 electrons, but now it is forming a bond with this silicon atom and it shares its electron. So now this atom is sharing these 2 electrons, similarly this atom is sharing these 2 electrons. So fourth atom of this atom, fourth electron of this atom is shared by this. So here we get bonding and we get 2 electrons. Similarly this atom also share electrons, so here we get 2. Similarly this, and this way the octet of silicon is complete. So here this completes octet and becomes stable, so this complete octets and becomes stable, and in this way almost all atoms they become stable. So that is first thing. So remember that at absolute zero temperature all electrons are in the atom, okay, and they are forming the bonds. They are not free electrons. But see now what happens if the temperature is not absolute zero. If temperature is increased, so you will see that when thermal energy is provided to these all atoms, what will happen? That by gaining the energy, the electron will become free, and this is called as a free electron. It resides inside the metal, so that material. So this is free electron. But the moment, see, watch carefully, if thermal energy is given, the energy is gained by this electron, and now the electron has sufficient energy to jump from valence band to conduction band, and it becomes free. So this is free electron, and here absence of electron is treated as a positive charge, and it is known as a hole in semiconducting theory. So here it is, a hole is generated. That means once the electron is released from semiconducting material atom, the hole is generated. So these are holes, and these forms electrons. One more important thing you should concentrate when we are going to study the diode and transistor. There is one term called as a minority carriers. So when we talk about majority and minority carriers, when thermal energy is provided, so electrons which are getting free due to the thermal energy, that electron play the role as minority charge carriers. So these are minority charge, play role of minority charge carriers. These holes also play role of minority charge carriers, that you remember well. So here you see that these are silicon atoms, and they share their electrons, forming a covalent bond, and their octet is fulfilled. So here octet is formed. That means now by sharing the electrons, in its outermost shell there are 8 electrons, and that is why now it is behaving as a stable atom. Now what will happen if we apply potential to this pure silicon bar? Remember that this is a pure silicon bar. Still we have not doped an impurity to convert it into either p-type material or n-type material. So when pure silicon bar is taken, and due to rise in temperature, on supplying thermal energy, some electrons will get freed from the atom, as we saw previously. And look carefully that these electrons, due to thermal energy, they are becoming a free electrons inside the bar. So these are free electrons. Now when we apply this battery potential, when the electron will flow, they will apply force on these free electrons, and these free electrons will take part in a conduction. So here, when due to thermal energy the electrons are freed, so the space in which electron was there now is treated as a hole. So remember, due to thermal energy, whatever holes and electrons are generated, they are playing the role of minority carriers in PN junction diode. That means after doping, these play the role of minority charge carriers. So here we see that these electrons are as minority charge carriers. Now when we apply voltage, you see the electron flow is there, and that electron flow, now these electrons are entering, which actually apply force on the free electrons, and the free electrons move and some current can flow. But remember that in pure semiconductor, these free charges are very, very small. So first important thing, that whatever number of charges, in case of these we saw 4 free electrons are available, so there are concerning 4 holes, that means number of electrons and number of holes are same in pure semiconducting bar. Okay, that is first thing. And as these type of free electrons are very small, so we cannot use this semiconducting material in electronic circuit. So for that sake, to increase the electrical conductivity of this material and for using the semiconducting material for various purposes, we need to dope some impurities in this material so that the electrical conductivity of this material can be increased. And so by doping trivalent and pentavalent impurity, we can convert this silicon into p-type material and n-type material. So before understanding the doping and why the number of charge electrical conductivity increases, we must understand and we must remember one thing is that on supplying thermal energy, there the electrons are getting free. These electrons when get freed, the holes are created inside the semiconducting material. The number of electrons and holes are same in pure semiconductor, and these electrons and holes play the role of minority charge carriers in p-type and n-type semiconducting material. Now here see what changes we are doing. Now we are trying to understand the concept of doping. Of the impurity, and we are now concentrating on what is p-type material and n-type material, so that we are going to understand. Remember that. So see, we already saw this is a semiconducting bar. Now if we dope some trivalent impurity atom in this material, so here as it is shown here, what is happening, that we see here it is, there are 3 boron atoms we see in the bar, okay, of silicon atoms. Now note that the valency of boron is 3, that means there are only 3 electrons in outer shell of the boron as shown here. Okay, so remember in our original silicon there are only 4 electrons in outer shell, and here in case of boron there are only 3. So wherever we dope these atoms, see what is happening, that this electron forms a bond with this electron, this with this, this with this, that means these 3 electrons are forming the bond. So what we observe, that now this silicon has completed its oxidate and become stable, this also and this also. But if you see here what is happening, that as boron only has 3 electrons, so this space is empty, that is called as a hole, that means it can accept the electron. So this way, by implanting one borium atom, we can say one hole is generated. So here it is shown there are 3 atoms, so we get 3 holes, and in this way this part of bar is now having 3 holes in the material. So here now these 3 holes can take part in conduction of electrical current, and so in this bar here we have holes that is shown here, and as the holes are treated as positive charge, so this is called as a p-type of material. So when in pure semiconductor trivalent impurity is added, it becomes p-type material. That is one important thing. So here there it is, there are holes are there, but don't forget, if thermal energy is given, some electrons will get free, that electron will remain in this region, okay, and they are the minority charge carriers inside this slab that you remember. So here this is p-type semiconductor. Boron is a trivalent impurity atom doped. Then when doped, hole which is a majority can act as a majority charge carrier is now available. So now here we see that when heat energy is given or thermal energy is provided, electron moves from this location to this location. So now one more hole is, so we get free electron. So now only remember that in only this part of p-type material the electron is also available. So holes are available because of doped atoms, and the very few number of electrons available due to thermal energy, and these electrons are now available in p-type material, but majority of the charges in p-type materials are whole, and so the number of electrons in p-type material are called as a minority charge carriers. So this way, when electron is freed, one more hole is generated. So now here we see 1, 2, 3 plus 4, that means large number of holes are there inside the p material, and very small amount of negative charge, that is electrons, are there. They are called minority charge carriers. So similarly, now we will talk about n type of material. We saw p type, that is n type of material. So in this case, again the bar is taken, silicon bar, and in which now the pentavalent impurity atoms are doped. So pentavalent means in its outermost shell there are 5 electrons. So now as usual, the 4 electrons share their the Sb atoms share their 4 electrons with forming a bond with nearby silicon atoms, but 1 electron is now free. And now here in this case you see that we have added 3 atoms, so 3 free electrons are there, and so now at present in this bar all electrons are in the bond formation, but these are free electrons, and as in this piece of silicon large number of electrons are available, so this is called as a n type of material. Okay, so majority carriers in n type of materials are electrons, but remember that the thing is not absolute zero temperature. At room temperature thermal energy is provided. This is n type bar, thermal energy is provided, and due to thermal energy what is going to happen, some of the electrons will be released. So if these electrons will be released, consequently the hole will be generated. So now inside this n type of bar, due to thermal energy the hole will be generated, but they are very few in numbers, and that will act as a minority carriers in n type bar. So here it is, hole as a minority carrier. See, look here, this electron is freed. Now at this place the hole is generated, and that is shown here, that hole is generated, and now this hole is acting as a minority carriers inside this bar. So this way I think you should you must have understood what is p type of material and what is n type of material. Now we are talking about p-n junction diode. So here look, this is a silicon bar. In half portion of silicon bar we have added trivalent impurity, and so that large number of holes are available, and due to that we called it as a p-type material. Similarly, we know that due to thermal energy some electrons are freed, and due to that holes and electrons are generated, but we know that inside p bar holes are majority carriers, so these electrons act as a minority carrier, and vice versa. Same is case with N type of material. So this part of silicon is doped with pentavalent impurity and large number of free electrons are there, and due to thermal excitation we have some holes also there. They are acting as a minority carrier in N material. So now here you see what this is P type material cemented to N type material, and this is basically a diode as you see here in this figure. So if we connect the voltage source, so what will happen? So if we connect polarity positive to P type, that is anode, and polarity negative to cathode, so what will happen? So remember that in this case we know that this negative terminal is the source of electrons, so electrons will start to flow in this direction, and when it reaches here it will repel those electrons, and these electrons will forced in this direction. We know that here are holes, these are positively charged, so that is why they are attracting these electrons in this direction, and once the electron reaches in this region, this is again positive polarity, the electrons will get attracted by this polarity, and so in this way the current will start to flow. A large current will flow, and this is basically a circuit called as a forward biasing of the junction diode, PN junction diode. So here it is shown. But remember that if when we do not connect battery, that means no battery is connected to this bar. So now we know that in P material holes are majority and electrons are minority carriers. In N material electrons are majority and holes are. So when no potential is applied, they are randomly moving inside the bar. But what happens, see, as the here higher positive potential is there, some of the electrons get attracted by this. Similarly, these electrons, some of those get attracted by this. So some part of electrons enters the P region and some holes enters in N region. But see, after some time this kind of diffusion is not continuously going on. After some time you will see that this electron is getting attracted by this hole at one side, another side also there it is a hole, so process stops. So inside semiconducting diode there it is a region in which in N type material there it is a number of holes, and in P type region there are number of electrons. So this region is called as a depletion region. So remember that as large number of electrons here, it acts as a battery negative terminal, and large number of positive holes are there, it acts as a battery positive. So remember that some potential barrier is formed here. So here at N, that is negative side, and here it is positive side. So whenever we are connecting this battery, okay, so let us consider this battery is of say 1 volt, and now this is also acting as a battery because of these are number of holes, but it is in opposite direction. So this barrier potential, so if it is say 0.3 volt or 0.7 volt, so that is actually working against this potential, and so therefore when we connect diode in forward bias condition, unless and until this potential becomes greater than this barrier potential, the charges cannot flow from P to N or N to P region, and so that is a concept of knee voltage in case of junction diode. Now see, normally when we connect the battery, how exactly the current flows. So see, here it is, we have applied the battery. Once the current is given, the electron starts to flow in this direction. This is a continuous process. Just for sake of understanding, I have taken an example. So electron comes, it comes here, and as it enters in N region, because of large number of electrons are repelling those electrons, so electron comes it enters N region, so it repels another electron. Then here the electron is accepted by this hole, so again another electron is repelled, and say now this electron repels this, and this way the current starts to flow. So this is a basic idea of understanding how the current is flowing when PN junction diode is forward bias. But remember that this portion, though battery is connected, that means N type of cathode is connected to negative and anode is connected to positive, but this portion is acting in reverse way. That means for this junction diode, though the battery is in forward state, but for this depletion layer region portion, it acts as a reverse bias, so that you remember. So in case of reverse bias, see what is happening. So N layer is connected to positive and P layer is connected to, P region is connected to negative. So we know that there is a natural attraction between positive and negative. So all these electrons will get attracted by the positive. All these positive holes are attracted by this, and no charges will transfer from P region to N or N to P region, and so the current is very small, almost zero. Okay, and that is why in case of reverse bias state, the junction diode has very high resistance, but the current is actually not zero. Some of the current is available due to minority charge carriers, because if you look at the region of this positive in depletion layer, so it is connected to positive terminal, and this negative is connected to negative of the battery. So for this region, whatever the charges, holes and electrons available, this battery act as a forward bias, and small amount current flows in microamperes, and that is called as a current due to minority charge. So that is available, but it is in microampere, very small, negligible. So that is what the way PN junction diode works in reverse bias. Okay, so friends, in this lecture we saw what is metal, insulator, semiconductor, what is trivalent impurity, pentavalent impurity, what is p-type material, n-type material, what are majority carriers, minority carriers, and how PN junction diode works in a forward bias and reverse bias. So this was the very basic important things for understanding the transistor. So in next lecture we'll start the every details of the transistor. Okay, thank you very much.